Good.
All right, we'll call our meeting to order and start with the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll start with a moment of silence. So please take a moment with us as for reflection and respect. Words cannot express the tremendous grief our state is experiencing over the tragedy in Lewiston. We mourn the tragic loss of life and the injuries suffered. Our deepest sympathies go to the victims, their families, and their friends. Please join us in a moment of silence to honor them. Thank you.
Any adjustments to the agenda?
None.
Okay. Consideration of the minutes from our last meeting on October 3rd.
They should be included in your packets, and barring any errors or omission, I would recommend approval as written.
Motion moved.
I second it, sorry.
I'm abstaining because I wasn't here.
Okay, all in favor? Next, we have opportunity for public comment.
How are you, Mr. Oaken?
Thanks for being here. Anybody else from the board or? Okay. Can we move into our presentations?
All right. So you remember last time Kathy Johnson came and showed you the beginning stages of what she was doing with her 8th graders in preparation for a year-long thing. She knows, she hears me all the time say things like, does anybody have anything for a presentation for the school board? I want to do something. And she's like, oh, I really want to do this. And Kathy's always quick to take on new things. I think if you noticed her enthusiasm at the last meeting, if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be Kathy. So she has been working through this and the kids are growing. It is really exciting to watch them. Andrew worked his magic and the two of them have put something right on. If you'll notice, this is on our website. And this might not be where it finally lands. We're still, as we said the other day, trying to work this through and see where it's going to be. But we have some videos. And I went through and there were a couple that I wanted to show tonight, but you're going to be able to see these yourself at any point in time. And let's see, the ones, there were two. Hey, I got to see what two are. There I go. I couldn't see. So this one was really cool. It's fall sports. And I know you're going to see growth right from the last time. But just an update on what's going on with the fall, with our sport season.
Hello everybody, welcome to Underscore Reporting. Today we're going to be talking about sport. First is soccer. Hey everybody, I'm here with Coach Bennett.
Hi folks, I'm Coach Benedino. I'm the girls coach for Center Drive, and I've been doing this for quite a while now.
How do you feel about coaching?
I love it. I love soccer. It's my favorite sport, and I love getting out here and teaching kids to play soccer and being out outside and enjoying the soccer field and everything else. I know I played soccer since I was like 3 years old.
What inspired you to coach?
So I started to pretty much started with my own kids, I think. I started coaching them in rec soccer for a long time, and then there was an opening here for girls coach back when my youngest son was in kindergarten, and he's 38 now, so he's 28 now, he's about 23 years ago. So then I started.
they're getting kind of silly, but kind of fun at this point in time. They're changing their voices up when they do this. So they're practicing some of that. Center Drive started last year, a volleyball club, and these kids have been coming, playing just in that off season. That part was them. that was not the streaming.
That's what they sound like running through the halls, right?
Yes.
That's it for today. Thank you for watching Underscore Reporting. Bye.
The next one, I won't show the whole thing, but I want you to see the difference with how they have started working together now, which is exciting for me to see this. But if it doesn't stream as well, then I certainly will stop it. But I just wanted to see what you see this piece.
Hi, I'm Owen Young, and I'm talking about East Portland Jammers. Have you ever wanted to go whale watching? Have an amazing experience with the ocean breeze blowing in your face and hair. Check out Eastport Wind Jammers. Here is Johnny Body, my co-host.
The Eastport Wind Jammers for Guider. Rich and educational experience for all ages. These take you to Canadian waters with loads of whales.
This is a 2.5-hour ride that leaves Eastport waters at 1:30 p.m. and cruises past the Old Sow, the largest whirlpool in the West. We go through Head Harbor Pastures to East Quoddy Lighthouse. Nature is at its finest when you arrive at the whale feeding grounds. Bald eagles and
All right, I'm going to pause, but I guess what I really want to have all of you see with all this, do you see how engaged all of the kids are? Project-based learning is one of the most important things that we can do with our kids and keeping them engaged and working together cooperatively. They're having a ball, and it's obvious that they are learning as they go along. And all of these different standards and skills that need to be taught, they're going to get taught. They're going to come. So it's pretty exciting for us. As I showed you, this is on our website. This is under the school committee. And today, where the videos are. Okay? So watch them at home when we won't have any certain issues. But thank you very much, Andrew. I appreciate you doing this. It's okay.
This is what streaming at my house was like when I left tonight. So. Something's up with the internet.
Thank you.
And I didn't bring the remote down. Is that going to bug everybody?
Nope.
Okay.
The lights seem extra bright for some
Yeah.
reason.
on to old business. There's some policies.
You have 4 policies. You want me to do them separately or all together? They are the ones you read last time, and you made no adjustments.
I guess we could do the ones that, yeah, we could do them all together.
Okay.
If everybody
So,
else is okay with that.
If you have specific questions, I'll happily go one by one, but we talked about them last time. So I would recommend for approval, JKA, physical restraint and seclusion, EEA, student transportation services, EEAEA, student transportation employee requirements, training and responsibilities, and EEAEAA, drug and alcohol testing of school bus drivers.
I just have one question, if I might. On the student transportation service one, it just caught my eye. How often do we engage services that are outside of the actual buses, like our vans that we have up there?
Yeah.
Is that what this kind of applies to?
So scheduled bus stops means that if we ever decided that we wanted to set up roads that we didn't go down, we had to come to the end, that we would do that. We don't do that typically. We have run into that situation before it was paved on the Richardson roads, but it was not a scheduled bus stop. It was that it was so icy they couldn't go down.
Makes sense.
But other than that, we have not typically utilized that because we don't have the population density to make it equitable.
Makes sense.
Any questions?
I would motion to move all, JKAA, EEA, EEAEA, and EEAEAE.
I told
AA,
you.
sorry. I almost had it.
I second that.
Okay, all in favor? So now moving on to new business.
I have the warrant back. You should have 2 new policies in here, both having to do with funds in the school department. They both came out of the audit this year. They are fairly straightforward. The student activity funds essentially says that the funds raised for that activity have to be used for that activity and that it doesn't replace any budgetary support that's done for that. And then the next one just has to do with the limits of what has to be locked or not, and then whether or not you're liable for something stolen if it's not locked.
Does this change how anything's been done?
No.
with that? I don't think so.
But I can take specific questions.
Do you have an idea on how much cash roughly we keep in the building? And what-
I do not.
It would
So
depend
I think it
on-
depends on whether or not we had an activity.
It depends on the activities. For example, at the end of the drama production, there might be approximately $1,000 at that point that we put in our safe. One of us is always there to make sure it gets into the safe. So those kinds of things. It's not until Monday when we can count it and get it deposited.
We're not talking tens of thousands of dollars.
No.
Sure.
That would be no.
To be honest, the only time we ever run into that is if we do a fundraiser for somebody in need.
Yes.
That's when you sometimes run into that bigger number.
Do you want the first reading?
Sure. Motion to move the first reading of each.
You have to have 2 by charter.
All right, so we have a motion, is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Okay, and then student account.
So you should have that sheet in front of you. It's going to make very little sense, but I'll go over it fairly quickly. So a few things. The sheet you have in front of you, you actually asked for last year because it's the official student count. And what that means is you have a time period in October where we get a snapshot that the state takes your count of students, and that's the one that they use for subsidy. So this is the official numbers for subsidy. Those numbers will change. They probably already have changed for the most part, but that's the number that they utilize when we look at the funding formula. What you're going to want to look at is 2 things. The very top section, you'll see all the different schools that we have resident students attending. The majority of those are high schools, but then Center Drive is halfway down, which is where our biggest number is. Count attending versus count subsidy just means that the schools that they go to are not in our district, so they don't go on us for attending, they go on them. So the students we have at Brewer High are considered to attend Brewer High, but they count for us for subsidy, not for them because they count for tuition, which is probably as clear as mud, but that's just how the system works. But what you'll want to look at is the very bottom section where that bar is broken out, because what it does is it compares this year, which is fiscal year '24, because our year ends in June, to last year, which is fiscal year '23, same time. So it's a snapshot to snapshot. So your Center Drive population went down 8, but is roughly stable. You're about 2%, so you're going to fluctuate up or down there. The accounts for subsidy includes high school over there. That's minus 33, so we're going to see less subsidy. But that's actually a positive thing, because we only get about 4,300 per student in high school for subsidy. If you go all the way to the right, you're going to see counts 9, 12 are down 27 of those 33, and that is a minimum of 10.5 per student. So budgetarily, you see those numbers will shift to our favor, actually. And they haven't set tuition numbers yet this year, so I can't give you the final whatever, but that's where it is. And we knew that because those were our big classes starting to leave high school. If you recall, when we used to have a middle school that had 3 teachers per grade, those all went to high school, and now they started to exit. So we're going to see, you will see an impact to subsidy, but you're going to see the impact to tuition be greater as they leave than the impact to subsidy. The rest of your numbers, the only thing I would highlight to you is economic status dropped about 27. That's based on a couple of things, and that's a trend throughout the state. One is that because of what's happened to minimum wage, many of our students now cross the threshold for poverty, because that level has not changed, that number for the federal, which is the definition that's used. So you've seen an impact there for people who used to qualify that do not anymore. The other piece is we're not getting quite as many back as we used to, because we now have free breakfast and lunch. And so it's not as significant as it used to be. And then the other thing is just the other one that will swing you one way or the other is your accounts for special education. Those remain stable. They're up this year. Mary Ellen's way softer on identifying than I ever was, so it just happens. So to give you an idea, because we're going to hit budget here in a month or two, our high for high school numbers was 243 students in 21-22. As you can see this year, based on this count, we're at 192, down from 219 last year. And we should come in, if projections stay on total, when everybody, our big classes leave, high school will end up somewhere around 165, which is where we were about 5 years ago, roughly. That's that bubble coming through. Mm-hmm. Is there anything that didn't make sense that I just explained? I mean, the formula, don't worry about this back and forth. It just gives you a good comparison sheet. But so that you understand, you'll see less state subsidy, but you're going to see far less tuition, theoretically. Questions on that?
Until we see a budget.
Yeah. Well, we need the tuition number next month first.
Nice to see it broken out like that. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Okay, we can move on to the reports. We've got principal's report.
Okay, sure. I hope that when you get my reports that you are able to see the type of rock stars that we have for staff here at Center Drive. And I want to make sure that all the reports, I try to at least capitalize on that for all of you. The situation in Lewiston, that was really tough. It's always tough in the school when things like that happen. And your staff wrapped around all those kids. They were flexible. They were caring. They kept the days as engaging as possible. And, you know, the conditions aren't perfect. We were in a soft lockdown. We're inside. It's gorgeous outside. And here we are inside, just unclear of what we should be doing at the time, and knew that this was the best move for what we had. But your staff wrapped right around kids. So I just want you to make sure you know that. We had a great in-service day. Again, your staff worked very hard at that, learning all kinds of new things. The other thing that I'm really excited about, I've started creating a document that I'll be sharing with you eventually, is all of the professional development that they've been doing, asking for, wanting to go to. I've got 5 adults going to a PBIS conference on Thursday. I had 5 people go to a data meeting in Augusta, 3 or 4 weeks ago. I've got 2 teachers doing a conference online on challenging behavior so that they can learn more on classroom management. They've really done a lot this year, reaching out, wanting to do things. So it's very exciting for me to see those kinds of things.
Is that going to change from prior years?
Well, prior to COVID, no. Prior to COVID, we did all kinds of things, but then of
Yeah.
course COVID hit. And then after COVID
Everyone's
was
exhausted,
done,
yeah.
we're in that slump trying to get out of it. And
Yeah.
it's been fun this year seeing that they are out of it and we're going at it again. So
Oh,
it's been exciting.
Thank you, and thank you for all the work and caring that you put into the students.
Thanks.
During that. 'Cause I know it's- Move on to, vice principal.
All right, so as you saw in the video, the fall athletic season came to an end, and it was a really fun season. The boys soccer team ended their regular season in 4th place. The girls soccer team ended up winning the championship. They were 2nd seed, and they beat an undefeated team, so that was quite exciting for them. And our cross country team, we ended up with 7 ribbons, and the girls team won 2nd place, and it was one of those, it looked like they won 1st place with the numbers, but then the way you have to figure it, you had to move on to like the 6th runner. And so we ended up, it was kind of like a tie, like a really close thing, but we came in 2nd, the way that they score it, whatever, it's okay. It's all right.
Sounds like we came in first.
It's okay, we're not bitter at all. No, but we understand. There's a way of doing it. Figure it out. So winter sports have already started. Tonight we had our parent information meeting. We had tryouts last week. Practices start this week. And it already sounds super exciting in the gym. So I can't wait for that really cool season to start. Like Judy mentioned, we finished in her report, we finished the NUIA testing, and I want to include thanking Mary Ellen for helping me make sure that the students got the accommodations that they needed, because you have to enter individually for both reading and math, any accommodations that students need, such as small group testing or text-to-speech, things like that. So thank you to Mary Ellen for helping me get that information in there. And thank you to Mrs. Schutz, our school librarian. She just finished hosting our Scholastic Book Fair, and that was really successful. That just ended. And then PTG, oh my goodness, we had trunk or treat, but before that, we'd asked people to bring in candy, to donate candy for that. And I feel like all the shelves in all the stores must have been empty, because my office and the main office were overflowing with so much candy. It was an amazing just response from the community to help us raise all that candy. And the trunk or treat, it was a really, really rainy day. We brought it inside. It was still a success. So it was a really great night for everybody. So much fun. And then we also, PTG had a pie sale, and that made a lot of money, and the pies will be ready to be picked up this Thursday. So that's exciting as well.
Are those all going in your office?
Well, that would be fantastic, but there's a rule about me being around too much pie, apparently. I can resist the candy, but the pie, it's really good pie. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Great stuff.
Good stuff. Okay, moving on to the pupil services.
Yes, you should have my report in your packets. The first several weeks of school were all about meetings, getting caught up on those and getting ready for the new year of referrals that have come in. I've been in classrooms observing students and teachers. There's some really great things happening in all of our classrooms. I kind of focused on the life skills classroom this month. There's some really tremendous things happening in there. And I mentioned the bulletin board, which is just outside of the superintendent's office. So if you have a chance to walk by, you'll get a chance to see all of the really amazing experiments they've done and activities they've done that really tie into cross-curricular areas like science, social studies, math, and reading and writing. And they look like they're having a ball, and I just really appreciate those efforts. And what a great way for those students to really connect with their learning. So please check it out if you have an opportunity. And then we also have some ed techs who were willing to commit some of their personal time to participate in some professional development that was offered in our region. And it was virtual this time. And I haven't had a chance to follow up to see how it went, but I'd love to invite some of them to come share with you guys what they learned at a future meeting. And then I offered them some online professional development that they can do at their own pace from their homes or wherever. And those can be used for recertification credits as well, as long as they run that by their committee first. So hopefully they'll share information with us that was valuable as well. Any questions?
Sounds like all good stuff.
And then we have James.
Last and least. We've covered it all. There's just one comment I would add, which is a couple of thank yous. One, Sheriff Morton, we had our SRO here out because they were doing different things and they cycled coverage so that there was somebody here when we dealt with the Lewiston thing. I think that was significant for two reasons. First of all, the average attendance around us, we had one district as low as 40% of students there, and most of them were somewhere around 65 or 70, and we remained at 80. And I think that has a direct correlation, and I think it made a big difference in making people feel comfortable, and that made a difference. Those 2 days made a difference for our students instead of being home just watching this as it got chewed up by the media everywhere, which I do not think would have been good for their mindsets. So I would just say I think you guys made a good decision in that, and thank you for that, because I think it made a difference in this situation significantly. And I think it did make a difference for our kids. So that's my comment.
There's nothing under personnel
No.
and no resignation termination.
Nope.
And no executive session.
None.
So last thing would be if there's any other comments or questions from public or the board.
I heard you mention something about Boston Richardson Road, and the last date I had was they were supposed to pave it today.
Yes.
Did it happen?
I do not know. But we don't have ice yet. I only know if it got paved or not when the ice hits, because then I start to get the phone calls.
It's been rained out,
Yes.
shortage of supplies, and people call.
So. But it will be done, and that's a miracle, so we appreciate it.
They forgot one. They, right at the end of Fowler Road,
Yep,
where you cross right there by Howard Farm.
Yep.
And there's a road that goes up in there.
yes, there is.
And I said to Chris, what the heck? He goes, I didn't know it was a public road.
We'll get there.
We'll get it. They got it all ready. But I don't-
Yeah. No, it's been impressive. Get rid of all the dirt roads.
Anybody else? All right, I guess we're adjourned.
Non-negotiable. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Country Sale.